You're standing in the kitchen pouring your morning coffee or chatting with a friend when suddenly you feel it. Your dog quietly walks over and heavily presses their entire body weight against your legs. Most of us instinctively smile, reach down for a quick scratch, and assume they're just being lazy, seeking attention, or asking for a cuddle. But what if this familiar heavy lean isn't just a simple request for pets? What if casually stepping away or gently brushing them off is actually ignoring a profound psychological boundary? Canine behaviorists have discovered that when a dog physically leans on you, they are communicating a highly complex emotional state. It could be a silent plea for support, a chemical bond of absolute trust, or even an urgent warning that they are deeply overwhelmed. To truly understand what your dog is trying to say, and to ensure you aren't missing a critical cry for help, we need to look beneath the surface. That heavy, comforting weight against your calves is something most dog owners experience daily. You might be cooking dinner, talking to a neighbor, or just standing in the yard when your dog casually wanders over and anchors themselves against your legs. Because this behavior is so common, it is incredibly easy to misunderstand. We naturally tend to brush it off as simple laziness, a clumsy demand for scratches, or just our dogs wanting to be as close to us as physically possible. However, canine psychology tells a much deeper story. A lean isn't just a lean, it is a complex form of physical communication. In this video, we are going to break down exactly what is happening in your dog's mind, revealing 6 profound reasons why your dog leans against your legs. Based on canine behavioral research, everyday observations, and expert veterinary insights, we will uncover the hidden messages your dog is trying to send, ranging from deep emotional bonding to silent, urgent cries for help. By the end of this video, you will never look at this simple gesture the same way again. Let's dive into the first and perhaps most heartwarming reason behind the lean. Number 1, they are using you as an emotional anchor. When guests come over or when you take your dog to a completely new environment, like a busy park or the vet's waiting room, you might notice them firmly planting their body against your calves. Many owners misunderstand this, assuming their dog is just being lazy, getting in the way, or acting overly clingy in public. However, the reality of this behavior is deeply rooted in how dogs perceive safety. A 2015 study on dog-human attachment suggested that dogs interact with their primary owners much like human toddlers interact with their parents. They use you as a secure base. When the world around them becomes unpredictable or slightly overwhelming, stepping behind or leaning against your legs is their way of grounding themselves. They are essentially borrowing your confidence. By physically touching you, they confirm that their protector is right there, which lowers their heart rate and helps them assess the situation calmly. The best way to respond is simply to let them lean. Do not push them away or force them to step forward and socialize before they are ready. Stand still, offer a calm presence, and let them decide when they feel brave enough to step out and explore. Once they realize their anchor is secure, they often feel much more confident to face whatever is making them nervous. But this grounding behavior isn't always about fear. Sometimes it is purely about love. Number 2, a chemical release of love. Picture this. You are relaxing in the living room, watching TV, and your dog wanders over. Instead of lying on their own bed, they press their side heavily against your leg, close their eyes, and let out a soft sigh. It is easy to think they just want to be petted or are simply finding a warm spot to nap. While that might be partially true, there is a fascinating biological process happening beneath the surface. Due to their physical anatomy, dogs cannot wrap their arms around you to give you a hug. Instead, canine behavior researchers have observed that dogs use full-body contact, like leaning, to replicate that exact same feeling of closeness. When your dog leans against you in a calm, relaxed environment, it triggers the release of oxytocin, often called the love hormone, in both their brain and yours. This hormonal loop drastically reduces stress and creates a profound sense of well-being. They are giving you a silent, full-body hug. When your dog does this, they are telling you that they feel entirely safe and completely content in your presence. To reciprocate, avoid sudden movements. Offer them slow, gentle strokes along their back or under their chin. This simple, quiet interaction strengthens the bond and reinforces the trust they have placed in you. If this is helping you understand your dog better, take a second to like this video and subscribe, and stay until the final sign because it is often the one owners miss the most, even though it can completely change how safe your dog feels around you. Now, while a lean is often a sign of affection, in certain situations, it can actually be a subtle warning. Number 3, guarding their most valuable resource. Have you ever been at the dog park or simply had someone approach you to say hello and your dog suddenly leans their entire weight against your leg? Many owners misinterpret this as their dog seeking comfort or trying to show affection in front of others. However, if you look closely at the context, this specific lean can sometimes be a subtle form of resource guarding. Studies on canine social cognition have shown that dogs are highly aware of their environment and the value of the things within it. To your dog, you are the ultimate resource. You provide food, shelter, and love. When another dog or a stranger approaches, leaning against you can be a physical way of claiming space. It is their polite but firm way of saying to the newcomer, "This person is mine, and I am standing right here." If you notice this happening, it is crucial to observe the rest of their body language. Are their ears pinned back? Is their body stiff? Do you hear a low, barely audible grumble? If so, your dog is feeling threatened. The best advice here is to calmly step away or redirect their attention with a command or a treat. You want to de-escalate the situation before their mild possessiveness turns into reactive behavior. On the flip side, dogs don't just guard you. They are also incredibly attuned to how you feel. Number 4, they are trying to comfort you. Sometimes the lean has absolutely nothing to do with what your dog needs and everything to do with what you need. Think about a time when you were crying, feeling incredibly stressed after a long day, or recovering from an illness. Did your dog quietly approach and press their head or body firmly against your leg? It is easy to dismiss this as a coincidence or assume they are just begging for their dinner. However, veterinary behaviorists often note the phenomenon of emotional contagion between dogs and humans. Dogs have an extraordinary sense of smell. They can literally detect the chemical changes in your body when your cortisol, stress hormone, levels spike. Furthermore, they are masters at reading human facial expressions and body posture. When they sense that your energy has shifted towards sadness or anxiety, leaning against you is their instinctual way of offering support. They are saying, "I know you are not okay, and I am here for you." When this happens, do not ignore them. Accept their comfort, take a deep breath, and gently pet them. The rhythmic motion of stroking your dog has been scientifically proven to lower human blood pressure and ease anxiety, proving that their instinct to heal you actually works. But dogs are also very smart, and sometimes a lean is far more practical than emotional. Number 5, a polite request for action. You are sitting at your desk working, and your dog comes over, leans heavily against your leg, takes a step back, looks at you, and then leans again. Owners often find this confusing, thinking the dog is just being restless, annoying, or doesn't know what it wants. In reality, your dog knows exactly what it wants, and they are using a highly effective communication tool to get it. Dogs learn through conditioning. Over time, they realize that standing silently in the middle of the room rarely gets your attention, especially if you are focused on a screen. But physical touch? That almost always forces you to look down. They have learned that leaning is a polite, non-aggressive way to interrupt you and request action. They are essentially tapping you on the shoulder to remind you of a schedule. It might be time for their evening walk, their dinner, or an urgent bathroom break. The best way to decode this is to follow their gaze or their nose immediately after the lean. Often, they will lean against you and then point their snout toward the door, their leash, or their food bowl. Acknowledge their polite request and reward their good communication by addressing their needs without making them resort to barking or whining. Finally, we arrive at the most critical reason behind the lean, a sign that requires your immediate attention. Number 6, an urgent physical sign of fear or illness. This is the lean that no owner should ever ignore. Imagine a thunderstorm rolls in, fireworks start going off, or perhaps nothing obvious is happening at all, but your dog suddenly presses almost their entire body weight against your legs. They might be panting heavily, trembling, pacing, or excessively yawning. It is a dangerous mistake to assume they are just being overly dramatic or temporarily clingy. When a dog's nervous system becomes completely overwhelmed by intense fear, or when they are experiencing sudden physical pain, they lose their ability to self-soothe. Their body goes into distress, and they use your legs as a literal physical crutch because they feel like they are going to collapse. Veterinary experts warn that this intense, heavy leaning is a dog's most desperate plea for help. The message is urgent. I am terrified, or I am in pain, and I cannot handle this alone. If you experience this, never push your dog away or force them to walk it off. If it is fear-based, slowly guide them to a dark, quiet, safe space in your home. Use soothing techniques like a thunder shirt or gentle, firm pressure wraps. However, if there are no loud noises or obvious triggers and your dog is leaning heavily, shaking, or lethargic, you must consult a veterinarian immediately, as this is a common early sign of internal pain or neurological issues. Your dog trusts you with their life. Make sure you are listening when they ask you to save it. That heavy lean against your legs is never just a random habit. Whether they are using you as an emotional anchor in an overwhelming situation, giving you a full-body hug to release oxytocin, trying to heal your stress, or silently crying out for help, they are communicating a profound need. Understanding your dog means looking past the surface to recognize that to them, you are the ultimate safe space. The next time you feel that comforting weight against your calves, will you see it as just clumsiness or a powerful statement of absolute trust? If you learn something new about the quiet ways your dog speaks to you, subscribe for more insights into canine psychology. Let us know in the comments when your dog leans on you the most. And if you want to discover the everyday habits that secretly make your dog lose trust in you, watch the next video on your screen.